Welcome to Unfrazzle, a podcast for solo business owners with a big vision who are ready for a kinder, more sustainable approach to productivity. I'm Louise Miller, and each week I share bite-sized insights to help you step away from the hustle, stop faffing and stay focused so you can make your brilliant ideas happen and make a bigger impact in the world. Before we dive into today's episode, if you enjoy what I'm sharing here on Unfrazzle and you'd like to support the podcast, you can buy me a cuppa by going to buymeacoffee.com/Louise Miller and making a one-off donation. I'll pop a link to that in the show notes. Okay, grab yourself a cuppa and let's get started. I recently asked the good people of LinkedIn to tell me what busy work looks like for them, and here are some of the things people said in response. They said, it's stuff that needs to be done, not necessarily urgent, when I've got a bit of a gap, but not enough time to do something really constructive or focused. And to me, that means keeping busy so I don't feel guilty, even if it's not really important. And another person said, I think for me, there's a category of tasks within busy work that's driven by perfectionism and avoidance of the bit I don't want to get wrong. So, for example, replacing images in a PowerPoint deck, hunting for the right image rather than updating the important content, or formatting a bit of my website page rather than nailing down the copy. And I also asked people to tell me what sorts of things fall into the category of busy work. And they said things like pulling my financial info together for my accounts, scrolling or responding to social media, going through my inbox, jotting down ideas for social media, tidying my files on my computer, posting on socials that aren't my key platform, checking my email, even though it's all newsletters, watching training sessions and webinars I know I'm not in a position to implement. So some really great examples there, quite varied examples of what busy work looks like for various different people. And some insight there as well, I think that's quite interesting around why people are doing it. So does any of that feel familiar to you? Now, whatever is driving your busy work, whether it is perfectionism, avoidance of something challenging, boredom, or even guilt, when you spend too much of your time engrossed in activities that aren't actually moving the needle for you in your business, it stands to reason that there is less time to spend on things that matter most, the projects you're excited to make happen but never have time for. So if you feel that you're always so busy juggling the day-to-day stuff that there's never time for your bigger priorities, what do? Well, today I want to share a few things you can think about that will help you to redress that balance. So first, understand what busy work looks like for you and your business. So how do you do that? Well, you might already have an idea of the things that you're spending time on that actually you wish you weren't. But if you're not entirely sure, then you might want to spend a few days just monitoring how you're spending your time. And I've got a template that can help you with that. I'll pop a link to a copy of that in the show notes. It's called Mindful Monitoring, and it's just a way of you keeping track of what you're doing. And then you can look back over what you've been doing and notice the activities that feel like they're moving you forward and the activities that might need doing, but they aren't actually contributing to your growth. And also keep an eye out in case there's anything on that list there that are things you're doing that actually don't need to be done. So is there anything that you can let go of altogether? Keep an eye out for that as well. And then once you know what busy work looks like for you, and once you've established that it does need to be done, you can then ask yourself whether it needs to be done by you. So if you already have a team, is there anything that you're doing that you might delegate? And if you don't have a team, are you ready to think about getting support? So in an ideal dream world, it would be great if we could all outsource all of our busy work so we spend 100% of our time doing the things only we can do that will lead directly to the growth of our business. But sadly, most of us are not in that position. There are still some things we have to do even if we don't want to. So if that's the case, then what do? Well, first of all, use that monitoring that you did earlier to notice how long your busy work is taking you. And then consider whether it actually needs to take you that long. So a quick caveat here, if you've been in my world for a while, you'll know I am not a fan of telling people to speed up. That's not helpful. Often it just leads to more overwhelm. Everyone has their own pace, and that is totally okay. So that's not what I'm talking about here. What I want you to do here is to pay attention to whether things like perfectionism is causing a task to take longer than it needs to. So a quick example of that. Are you agonizing over a design in Canva or finding the perfect image for a blog? Just a quick reality check for you there. Yes, of course you want things to look good and be on brand, but the difference between a good enough image and an amazing image is not going to be the difference between the success or failure of your business. It just isn't. So are you spending a disproportionate amount of time on things that actually are not adding that much value. And also get curious to see whether a task you don't really want to be doing is taking longer than it needs to because you're bored, you keep checking your LinkedIn feed, you're using whatever procrastination tool is at your fingertips to slow you down. So notice all of that, and there might be some obvious kind of solutions for you there once you start paying attention. And if you're reflecting on all of this and you know that you're spending too much time on busy work, I really recommend creating a container for it. So deciding when it's going to happen. Decide how much time you're willing to spend on those important tasks that need to get done, but that aren't really making the boat go faster. And do your best to stick to that boundary. We all know that work expands to fill the time available. So how might giving yourself less time to get your busy work done free up more space for other things? And speaking of other things, do you know what's important to be doing instead of your busy work? So do you know what the project or goal that you want to be working on right now is? And have you got clarity around why that thing is so important to you? So I'm not usually a fan of the word should, but here is somewhere that it can actually be really helpful. If you know what you should be doing with your time, that bigger project, the big thing that actually is going to make an impact for you, and if you're committed to making that thing happen, it becomes easier to limit the time you're spending on other things because you've got a much better sense of the impact that busy work is having and what it's preventing you from cracking on with. For example, if you know there's a new group program you want to be working on, having clarity around the tasks you need to do to move that forward will help you to choose wisely when you have a spare 15 minutes that you don't know what to do with. You know, when I was sharing what people on LinkedIn said earlier, someone had said that busy work is what they do when they don't really have time to do anything impactful. Well, sometimes we can get a lot done in 10-15 minutes as long as you've got real clarity around what it is that you need to be doing. So just keep that in mind. Do you have that clarity? And then if you're used to getting the busy work out of the way before you let yourself focus on your bigger priorities, it's no wonder that you're never getting to what's important. So I would love for you to rethink what you do first. What would happen if you allowed yourself to spend time on your big, exciting project first? Whether that's blocking out every Monday morning for it, or spending the first half an hour or hour of every day working on the thing that matters most. A great way of preventing the busy work from eating into all of your time is to not do it first, right? Do the important thing first and get to the busy work later. Because the truth of the matter is, if you spend all of your time doing whatever's shouting the loudest, juggling the day-to-day stuff, engrossed in that busy work, you will never do the things you need to do to get your business to the next level. So remember, you get to choose. Carry on as you are, waiting until you get to the end of your to-do list before you let yourself focus on what matters the most to you, or put yourself, your growth, your business growth at the top of your list of priorities. And the key to this, as with everything, is awareness and intention. And if you're realizing that the busy work is taking up too much of your time and that nothing I've shared here is going to help you, it might be that you've created a business model that actually isn't serving you. And could this be your cue to sit down and think about what, if anything, you might like to change about that? And as always, I hope that this helps, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you for listening to Unfrazzle. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend who needs a dose of calm productivity in their life. And I'd love it if you could leave me a rating and a review, as that will help more people discover this podcast. If you'd like to hear more from me to help you stop faffing and take back control of your time, you'll find a link to join my mailing list in the show notes, and I would really love for you to join us. So thanks so much for your support, and I look forward to seeing you next time.